DLC reviews. That's a concept that's still pretty new to me. I did one DLC review before for Shantae Half Genie Hero's first story expansion, and I am here to do the same for its second story expansion, which released yesterday on the Nintendo Switch and other platforms, and will be releasing on the PlayStation Vita tomorrow. So let's get right to it. Here is my review of the new story expansion for Shantae Half Genie Hero, Friends to the End. Before I begin, spoiler alert! The Friends to the End DLC campaign takes place in a crucial segment of Half Genie Hero's storyline. If you have not completed the base game, then I suggest you fast forward this video about 1 minute to get to the gameplay section. Friends to the End takes place in the same story scene that the Risky Boots DLC took place in. After being manipulated by Risky Boots, Shantae has her magic inverted, transforming her into an evil being with the intention of destroying everyone and everything. But after the evil magic overwhelms her body, she falls unconscious, leaving behind a magic portal that leads straight into her mind. Series veterans Sky, Bolo, and Roddy Tops then leap into that portal with the intention of finding the good Shantae and bringing her back. Now, the thing I really like about this story campaign is that there's a lot more story to it than the last one. In the Risky Boots DLC, you just saw her doing her own thing. She didn't get a huge amount of character development or anything in that regards. But in this campaign, you see the trio of heroes go in not trusting one another, and eventually growing as they go through Shantae's memories, learning to work together. By gameplay, not much has changed here. It's still a 2D platformer with combat elements, so it's more the same in that regard. The biggest difference here is that you've got 3 new playable characters, each with unique abilities needed to navigate all of the changes this campaign has made to the game's environments. You've got Sky, who can create temporary platforms to cross large gaps. You've got Bolo, who has a grappling hook to access higher areas than the other two can reach. And you've got Roddy Tops, who can throw her head across stages and past magical barriers and teleport the rest of her body to wherever her head lands. Now, these changes with the playable characters are interesting, but it also increases the difficulty of the game in a few different ways. As far as just navigating areas, you might have some later stage puzzles where you have to create a platform with Sky, and in the 3 or 4 seconds before that platform disappears, you've got to switch to Roddy Tops, jump up on the platform, aim your head, and throw your head. It's really got a lot of timetable mechanics with even simple platforming. And another part of the difficulty comes through the leveling and magic system. As you collect gems with your characters, they'll level up, and leveling up will not only increase their attack parameters, like giving them more range for attack and faster attacks, but it also increases their magic gauge that is used for unique abilities. And this aspect creates a higher difficulty because Roddy Top's unique ability is to fully heal her HP, and that is the only way you can heal outside of finding drops from enemies. Friends to the End does not have food drops like the previous campaign did, so you can't just hit the pause menu and start eating food when you get low on health. You have to use those 2 heals for the gauge, and when the gauge is up and you're in the middle of a boss fight, you're gonna lose if you don't beat them before you run out of health. But that's all for the new features and the way they've changed the game. Now let's talk about content. And there are 2 things to talk about in that regard. First, let's talk about the type of content and the lack of variety in this DLC campaign. Apart from the 3 new playable characters and a single new enemy, everything is recycled from the base game and the Risky Boots DLC. My big problem, and the thing that really irks me about this, is that the final boss of this DLC campaign is a palette swap from the final boss of the Risky Boots campaign. No new abilities, just a palette swap and a few shadows thrown in here and there on the models. And the game even knows that they're doing this because one of the boss fight introductions has a little quip where the boss blatantly says that he's about to start using recycled movesets. But now let's get past that and onto length. Throughout this campaign, you've got 6 worlds to navigate, and you've got 48 collectible items that are needed for the true ending. When I played the Risky Boots DLC, getting the true ending of that took me about 3 hours. Getting the true ending of Friends to the End took me 2 hours and 45 minutes, and that's with lots and lots of dying, missing ledges, retrying, redoing. If I had not gone back to get all of those collectibles, I doubt it would have even taken me 2 hours to complete this campaign. It is very, very short. Now I'm going to do a quick thing on presentation. It's not going to take me but a moment, but just so you guys know, I don't have any problems with presentation, but all of the background music used for all of the main stages outside of boss fights are actually songs taken from previous games of the series and placed into this new game. It kind of changes the air up a little bit, but I always thought it was neat ever since I read up that this new DLC campaign would have music from all of the older games. In conclusion, Friends to the End is a unique DLC expansion with 3 playable characters and brings a very fresh feel of difficulty to the game. Be that as it may, it's still brought down by its very short length and for recycling literally everything in it outside of the playable characters and a single common enemy in one stage. It's definitely worth a play if you're a fan of the series, but don't expect to see any new bosses when you're playing through it. Reviews to Go rates Shantae Half Genie Hero Friends to the End DLC campaign a 7.5 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below or head to the website at www.reviewstogo.com.